So when it comes to learning the piano, there are two major things that nobody seems to be talking about. At least when I started learning the piano, I did not know about these things, and I didn't learn about them until much later in my music journey. Okay, and I'm going to share them with you in this video, because if you're learning the piano, which I can safely guess that you are learning the piano because you clicked on this video, you need to know these things, because if you don't know about them, you might be missing out on a lot of potential and a lot of the fun that you can actually be having with learning and playing the piano. Okay, so what are these two things? Well, the first thing is that learning the piano is actually a journey of learning music. What you're really learning is you're learning music, which is more of an inward journey than an outward journey. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, when you learn the piano, typically you have a teacher or you're learning online, and most of the lessons, most of the training material that you are taking is what I like to call outward material, external material, right? It's the actual learning of the instrument. Obviously, you need to learn that stuff, right? That's what it means to learn an instrument. You need to learn the technical elements, right? You need to unlock the hands and unlock the fingers. That's how I describe it, right? You need to learn the mechanics of how the instrument actually works, how to sit at the instrument, developing good technique, learning the different techniques and practicing these things, right? That's of course very important. If you don't learn that stuff, you're not going to be able to progress on the instrument, and you're not going to express yourself and play your favorite tunes and improvise and compose and all that stuff, okay? So that's of course very important. That's half of the picture, but that's only half of the picture, right? What's the other half? It's the inward material. And honestly, I really feel like this isn't taught enough. It's not taught enough. A lot of piano courses, a lot of online piano training and stuff, it's so outwardly focused. It's so focused on the external stuff, how to actually play the instrument, obviously, right? Because if you want to learn the piano, you have to learn to play the piano. But what we're really learning here when we're learning to play the piano is we're learning music. We're becoming musicians. We're not becoming pianists. We're not becoming piano players. The piano is just the instrument through which we are expressing and exploring music. And music is an inward thing. It's something that we hear in our ears, something that we feel in our body. It's something that we imagine. It's a creative thing. It's something that flows through our body, right? When you listen to music, what happens? You dance to it, or you kind of imagine something, or you relate to it and connect to it emotionally. But a lot of the time when you start learning the piano, it's so outwardly focused, right? It's so focused on, practicing these technical drills, right? Learning these different exercises, finger exercises, scales, chords and all of that. And yeah, that stuff is obviously important. Like I'm saying, that's half of the picture. But the other half of the picture, which honestly I think is way more important, is the actual musical side, developing your taste and your sensibility and appreciation and love for music, connecting to music. And this is one of the first things I get students of UtK Pro to do, right? It's like the first lesson in UtK Pro is connect with music. It's the most important thing, but it seems like a lot of piano education doesn't do this. And I'm speaking from experience, because that's how I learned when I started to play the piano, right? When I first signed up for piano lessons at about age 12, early teenage years, the first thing that my teacher got me to do was to sit there with a book and study the different notes on a book, on a little booklet, right? And then he got me to read sheet music and then do these technical drills and things like this. And it's in hindsight, that's just a really terrible approach, right? Whereas the way that I teach music, obviously, this is just how I approach it. This is just how I think about it. But honestly, I think what we're really doing here is we're connecting with music. So what I get my students to do always is the first thing you got to do is to connect with music, to connect with yourself, right? To start to see the music journey and the piano journey as an inward journey of self-discovery, self-expression, rather than focusing so much on the technical, sitting there and practicing exercises and stuff. of course, again, like I said, that stuff is very important. I teach it all the time. You need to learn that stuff and practice that stuff to actually express the musical nature that you discover within, okay? Hopefully this isn't just a bunch of me yapping about nonsense, because it might be like that. But the main point here is that learning the piano is an inward journey. Okay, let's get practical here. How do you do this? Listen to a lot of music. Just listen to it more and connect to it more, right? Listen to your favorite music. Sit there and actually actively listen to it, right? Start to learn music by ear. Start allowing yourself to improvise. Just sit at the piano and just play. Even if it's bad, it doesn't matter. You're just like expressing yourself. It's fine. It's all good, honestly. And yeah, learn your favorite music. Develop your own musical taste. Start to sing along to your favorite songs, right? Hum along and dance to more music. Just allow music to flow through you more. Okay? That is honestly the most important part of learning the piano. You're actually becoming a musician more than just becoming a pianist. You don't want to be the pianist who has amazing technical ability but no musicality. You're much better off developing a much deeper sense of musicality and not as much technique, because that way people are actually going to connect with your music. Right? This is about, like, music is a human thing. It's about connecting with others. It's about connecting with yourself. Okay, so that's the first really important thing that I feel like isn't spoken about enough when learning the piano and learning music in general. Okay, what is the second thing that nobody seems to tell you about the piano when you start learning? Well, I'm going to break it down for you here. It is that they don't tell you the true power and the potential of the piano. The piano is way more powerful than you probably realize. It's way more powerful than most people realize. I didn't understand its power until year 8 of learning the piano, and I'm not even joking, right? When I started learning, I thought the piano was just the piano, right? That the wooden instrument in your house that you sit at and play. Well, let me tell you that it's way more than that. There is so much more potential to the piano, and this is one of the reasons why I created Unlock the Keyboard, because I wanted to teach and educate people on the true power and potential of the piano and what it can be for you in your life. You can really unlock so much of your creative potential if you understand the power of the piano. Let me tell you straight up, I feel like I'm dancing around the point here. It's a keyboard. When you're learning the piano, you're learning the keyboard. That's what your fingers and hands are learning to navigate. Now, the keyboard is a master key instrument. It can access an infinite library of sounds. If you use it as a MIDI keyboard and plug it into your computer and load up a software like Logic Pro or GarageBand or Ableton, right? These are called DAWs, digital audio workstations. And within the DAW, you can access just so much potential for music and for creativity and for creative expression. And the different sounds that you can access through a DAW are absolutely profound. Like, you can literally download an entire orchestra, and you can download like heaps of synthesizers and different keyboard sounds, and just there are so many different instruments that you can play in the DAW, and guess how you play them? You play them using the keyboard. And so what that means is that you can compose your own music, you can produce your own music, whether that's lo-fi music, ambient fantasy music, orchestral music, video game soundtracks, movie soundtracks. You can compose anything you want inside a DAW, guess what? With the keyboard. And so this is why I really want to educate people on this, because I didn't understand this when I started learning the piano, that you can actually compose like orchestral music using a keyboard. So if you're learning to play the piano, maybe you just want to play the piano. That's cool. But just know that it is available to you. Like, an orchestra is available to you. It can be at your fingertips if you want it to be. You just have to kind of learn how to plug in a keyboard using a MIDI cable into your computer and download a DAW software. You might already have one. If you're on a Mac, you will already have GarageBand. So you can just try it out on GarageBand, just load up different sounds and start composing different music, right? So you don't have to be limited to just the piano sound. You can have all kinds of sounds and you can start producing music. And yeah, so I'm going to leave the point there. Otherwise, I'm going to be rambling on for literally hours about this because I'm so passionate about the ultimate power and potential of the keyboard. Again, that's why I created Unlock the Keyboard. And that's why it's called Unlock the Keyboard and not Unlock the Piano, because the way that I see it and explain it is that the piano kind of falls under the bracket of the keyboard, right? By that, I mean that if you can play the keyboard, you can play not just the piano, but also electric piano, synthesizer, Rhodes. You can play like all kinds of things. Organ. Obviously, these are different kinds of instruments that require different techniques, but generally speaking, if you can play the piano, you are like an infinite musical pathways are open to you. You can open so many doors in the world of music. So I made this video to basically explain that to you. And again, it ties into the first point, right? If you're developing your musicality, you're doing more than just learning to play the piano. You're becoming a musician, which means that you are listening to music. You're engaging in the world and in music in a very creative and free way. You're improvising and expressing yourself on the piano and on the keyboard and with these different sounds. You get to compose music. You get to learn your own music. It's a whole approach to life. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And I feel like that isn't spoken about enough when you're learning to play the piano. Okay, so hopefully you understand it now after this video. I hope that I've inspired you or motivated you. Yeah. That's all for this video. Definitely check out Unlock the Keyboard Pro if you're interested in that. The link will be below. And if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, all of that. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.